1997 was a good year in video games. Final Fantasy VII, Tekken 3 hit the arcades, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Gran Turismo, Fallout, GoldenEye, Diablo, Abe's Odyssey, Star Fox 64 and the list goes on. A year filled with critically acclaimed releases only to be eclipsed by the year to come. That is the crazy year of 1998 in video games. However, 1997 also saw the humble beginnings of a long-running mecha series, Armored Core, developed by... Okay, I think the joke has served its purpose. It's From Software yet again. That means 2 FromSoft videos in a row, huh? Well, I'll be. The idea and conceptualization of Armored Core came somewhere during the later stages of development of Kingsfield 2. However, the world of games development was a fairly new thing to the small team, so all of their resources and manpower went to the creation of the first 2 Kingsfield games. After all, From Software was originally all about just developing software tools for the Japanese businesses. As Kingsfield 2 was nearing its completion, Yasuyoshi Karasawa, an animator and character designer of the team, had a completely new game idea. After having considerably less work regarding Kingsfield 2, he was able to pitch his idea further, and eventually, by going through several revisions, lots of trial and error, and many failed plans, Armored Core came to be. Originally, all the designs were just boxy robots, looking like they were made of cardboard boxes. Team From Software lacked the mecha expertise, so they contacted Shoji Kawamori, a real pioneer and major innovator in the mecha robot genre. Kawamori is also known as the creative brain behind a fighting mecha robot, changing forms between a robot and a vehicle. To most of us uncivilized residents of the Western world, that would mean Transformers, right? Well, Kawamori introduced this concept of a transforming mecha already back in 1980, which led to the creation of a toy line called Diaclone. Fast forward 4 years and Diaclone would be rebranded as Transformers due to the business deal between the original toy manufacturer Takara and a certain American company Hasbro. A fun fact is that Optimus Prime was already conceived back in 1982 as Battle Convoy, co-created by, well, Kawamori himself. Kawamori's resume doesn't stop there. He was one of the mechanical designers in Super Dimension Fortress Macross, or just known as Macross. And to throw in another highlight, Kawamori also took part in mechanical designs in 1995 movie adaptation of a manga called Ghost in the Shell. Considering his resume, I think there is no question about the ability of this man, so the Armored Core team had themselves a real industry legend on board, the god of mecha robots. Kawamori's mech designs were so detailed that they had to tone them down quite a lot. He commented it being a bit of annoying that the PlayStation was not able to realize all the small details he had envisioned. This resulted in most of the weapons taking a rather cubical outlook. Karasawa's original idea went through a few major changes. Initially, the game wasn't supposed to be as intensive in customization as it turned out to be, and it was thought that there would be a certain amount of pre-built robots to choose from. Eventually, this concept was taken further with the decision of moving on to modular components that the player would be able to combine however they wanted, considering the rules and fine lines of the game. Another major change was that the game was supposed to be a Kingsfield-styled action-adventure game. There even was a function coded in the game that would allow the game to run smoothly without any interruptions in gameplay while loading new assets. All this was changed to a mission-based, simulation-styled gameplay, a completely new style for From Software. With Karasawa as the producer, From Software released their 4th game, Armored Core, in 1997, starting a long-running franchise of 16 games released to this day. The series has had its highs and lows, with its highs being most likely in the 3rd or 4th generation of games, and its lows being somewhere in the 5th generation, which eventually led to a 10-year hiatus of the series. This hiatus would result in the release of the majority of the Soulsborne games, until the sudden announcement and release of the 6th generation Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. Speaking of Souls games in context with Armored Core, another fun fact would be that the first From Software game that the golden god of gaming, Hidetaka Miyazaki, hallowed be thy name, was part of, was Armored Core Last Raven. Not sure if there's a connection, but Last Raven is often considered as the #1 hardest game in the series, and I concur. Last Raven is definitely very tough. However, in this video we will be focusing on where everything began, with the first generation, the original AC. Well, there's so many games with the abbreviation AC that it's just plain silly, but to me, when speaking of games, AC is and will always be Armored Core. So when it's about AC, you know what we're talking about. Or maybe we're just talking about air conditioning after all. As I was about to say, the original AC was so successful that From Software made two kind of an expansion pack sequels, Project Phantasma and Master of Arena. They both play very much the same as the OG AC1, so it would be questionable to take a look at them in separate videos. In addition, you can actually play all of them with a single save file, importing your save to the next one in line, and that's what we are going to do. So here is a huge total 3-in-1 review of Armored Core the first generation, that is Armored Core, Project Phantasma and Master of Arena. Personally, the Armored Core series has always been one of my all-time favorites. I've always wanted to share my enthusiasm with the series, and now I'm getting the chance. However, due to my overall fondness and experience with the series, I do realize my eyes may be jaded with some apparent problems with the games, but I will try my best to stay as objective as possible. Before moving on, please consider clicking the like and subscribe button and even leave a comment below. Thank you! Greetings dear viewer, I am Hypo. Grab a snack and relax, for in this video we take a close look at not one, not two, but 3 Armored Core games for the original PlayStation, Armored Core the first generation. So, how was it? Humanity has been forced to take residence underground due to an event called the Great Destruction, which made above ground uninhabitable. This event was jump-started by a war known as the 30 Years' War, which led to the activation of a colossal orbital weapon Justice, forcing humanity to take shelter underground. Armored Core takes place in an underground world with 2 major cities, Isaac City and Zam City, as the usual points of interest. 2 largest corporations, Chrome and Murakumo Millennium, took interest in having control over this new underground city, investing much in building and developing it, with selfish interests in mind, of course. Eventually there were power struggles between the 2 corporations, which led to shadow operations and public outbursts in which both blamed each other. The stage was set again for another hot war. The intro sequence does a very good work in telling what the game is all about. Here we can see a very detailed mecha robot being built and sent on a mission to interrupt a strike party consisting of 2 MTs and a bulky red AC. A very cool looking FMV spiced with techno music and destruction, highlighting some of the options you are allowed to do. Upon registering your name, you are immediately thrown into a test by an organization called the Raven's Nest, where you are to prove yourself worthy of being called a Raven. It's a quite familiar From Software move to push the player into the fray without any helping hand, as we found out in the previous video, Kingsfield 4. Nothing is taught or explained. In order to pass the test, you are to destroy or survive 3 minutes against 2 enemies called MTs or muscle tracers. A nitpicky funny thing is that the test briefing states that the enemy is an AC, but they are only MTs, as ACs and MTs are not the same. However, failing the test will actually reboot the game and throw you back into the title screen. A quite ballsy move, I must say. Let's check out the controls quickly. The schematics follow the basic Kingsfield-styled system with almost the same bottom configurations. As mentioned in Kingsfield 4 video, by learning one From Software game, you can quite quickly adapt to another one. So it's D-pad for basic movement, back buttons for aiming and strafing, X for booster use, square for right-hand weapon, circle for blade, and triangle to change your weapons. The select button opens the automap. The UI consists of health value, also known as armor points, in the upper left corner. The generator energy levels are right next to it, and the right side consists of radar and weapons data. The radar also tells you the limits of the level with yellow and red lines. Crossing the red line means leaving the mission area. Upon clearing the test, you are welcomed as a Raven.
The test is over. From this moment on, you are a Raven.
Very soon after, you are thrown into the most pivotal part of the game, the main menu screen, the Raven's Nest. We are told that we got some mail, so time to scroll to the mail section to see what this is all about. We are welcomed to the Raven's Nest by an individual called R. R explains to us that the Raven's Nest is an elite mercenary organization providing services to various clients. By passing the test, you classify as a mercenary called the Raven. R emphasizes that the Nest does not intervene with the agreements between clients and Ravens, and therefore the Nest only works as a liaison between clients and mercenaries. The Nest occasionally provides Ravens with information regarding missions and occurrences of the world. The Ravens are fully responsible for what missions they partake in and how they fare in them. This very main menu is most likely the place you're hanging out the most in. It contains everything you need from garage to shop and from mail to your save data. It also contains a ranking tab, which we are going to talk about more later, but there's clearly a hierarchy of pilots within the Nest, with Hustler 1 or AC9 Ball being an obvious number 1 regarding points. The heart of the menu is the garage, and this is where you're assembling your very own robot, an AC or armored core. There is just a crazy amount of customization you can do. Parts, equipment, AC color, and you can even draw yourself an emblem to distinguish your own creation. You could really get immersed in the customization vortex for a long time, and what's not to like with a soundtrack like this? You can also throw your AC into a test arena free of charge with 2 familiar MTs from the Raven's test to see how your creation is working. Time to name our AC appropriately. Yeah, that's a fitting one. Time to take on the first mission, eliminate strikers requested by the Chrome Corporation. A group of workers are demanding Chrome to improve their working conditions, and therefore they have closed the Dowen Bridge. With all the bridge traffic halted, Chrome has no time or interest in dealing with the workers, so they're hiring a Raven to forcibly eliminate all the workers occupying the bridge. Already we're thrown into a very unsettling situation where we have to crush basic working class people fighting for better work conditions. Armored Core really wants the player to feel the dystopia from the very start. Aside from all the doom and gloom, this very first mission has a hidden part in it. Armored Core has a fair amount of hidden parts scattered in various missions, so a keen player might find themselves a hefty upgrade unit. Some of them are ridiculously powerful, and oh, we're getting to that eventually. This mission has its hidden part already behind your starting point. Upon fulfilling the mission objective, The mission ends and we're handed an income and expense report. The bread and butter of the game is economy, so handling your expenses is your way to success, as repairs, ammunition and failure can lead to a crippling debt with game-altering consequences. Everything has a price in this game. The missions only get tougher, and that means you need to get into developing your own AC to keep up with the game, and that is definitely not an easy task for a first-time pilot. It is a complicated thing to learn, as there is a brutal amount of different values and parameters to learn. If my calculations are correct, there is a total number of 34 unique parameters within all the parts in the game. They have made a surprisingly complex system already within the first entry in the series, which has most likely filtered many players back in the day, seeking for a simple mecha game to wreak havoc in. Fundamentally, a basic AC consists of 7 mandatory parts in order to launch into missions. If some of these 7 parts are missing, the game will not let you in any form of gameplay. This means that an AC needs at least a head, core unit, arms, legs, a generator, a FCS, also known as fire control system, that affects your lock-on box, and finally a pair of boosters. With some forms of leg types, boosters are not needed as they are already pre-built in the legs. These special legs are known as the tank treads. In order to succeed in missions, you would also need a plethora of weapons, preferably at least a main right-hand weapon, a laser blade, and a single back-mounted weapon. However, 2 would be great. All this has to be assembled so that you are not exceeding your energy reserves and maximum leg and core weight. If you are unable to meet these terms, the game will not let you into any form of gameplay. That's quite a lot to take in, huh? In my humble opinion, games are meant to be explored on your own terms, but I'm going to give you a couple of tips in building an AC so you could get into this game easier. I value first-time experiences, so if you'd like to skip the tips, here's the timestamp. Number 1. Energy is the king. Invest in a good generator early on, as the default one is very subpar in almost every sense. With a solid generator, you're less likely to become a sitting target, and an ample amount of energy can support heavier energy usage or even energy-based builds. It's a great idea to have excess energy. With almost every single AC game, a generator is the first thing I'm personally upgrading. Number 2. Booster quality is important. With the majority of AC types, you want to be moving all the time to evade damage, which leads to less expenses in repairs, and that leads to you having more funds for upgrades. With better boosters, you use energy efficiently while moving faster. Heavy builds should also invest to a good pair of boosters to make their behemoths fly. Number 3. Do not underestimate the laser blade. It is a solid weapon that has unlimited uses as long as you have energy. It is a close quarters weapon, but a deadly one, so do remember to use your blade. There is also an advanced technique with the blade to inflict triple damage, so never underestimate laser blades. Number 4. Legs usually determine how you should build your AC. Lighter leg types allow more speed, so you need to build lighter. On the other hand, heavier legs allow heavy weaponry, but require you to invest in defense, as you're less likely to evade enemy fire. Tank treads and quad legs provide tempting benefits, such as using shoulder cannons while moving, but they do have their own unique weaknesses. We could say that the legs are the soul of your AC. And number 5, which is automap. All the head parts are not equal in functions. It is very recommended to equip your AC with a head that has a memorizing automap. It is an absolutely crucial feature in many maze-like levels. There's a lot more information alongside these tips to get into, but I do think it's important not to overwhelm a new player with too much information. The FCS parts especially can be a bit hard to understand. However, with these tips, you'll have a generally easier time to understand the basic AC building and hopefully eventually build your dream first generation AC. Experimentation is highly recommended because you can always sell parts back to the shop with the same price as you bought them. If some of you have more good beginner tips, please do share them in the comments section. As a simulator-styled game, Armored Core offers about 50 different missions that are usually a couple of minutes long, with few exceptions here and there, such as the final mission. You're given a short briefing before launching in, and based on that information, you need to make your decision regarding AC parts. Mission objectives are mostly destruction or protection based, but there are some unique missions where you're to seek and retrieve a missing unit. The game usually gives you 1 to 3 missions at the same time to choose from. Sometimes you're able to finish all of them, but eventually they do get replaced with new ones when the game progresses. Some of the missions require special preparations before launching in, such as having more ammo reserves than you usually do. Figuring this out may require you failing at least once in the mission, because the briefings are sometimes somewhat stingy with the information. Failing a mission doesn't necessarily end the game. Armored Core is a simulation-styled game where failing usually means that you're not getting paid. Instead, you're the guy who's going to be paying. However, there are a couple of important story missions which, upon failing, will trigger a game over sequence. Usually completing a mission awards you money. Sometimes your client pays already in advance, so you can use that money to prepare yourself for the mission. However, there are a couple of missions where your reward is an AC part. Here is an iconic mission where you're employed by Murakumo in order to destroy Chrome's gun emplacements. Your reward for succeeding? A prototype leg part made by Murakumo. After the mission, Murakumo contacts us to offer their congratulations for a job well done. They also try to paint themselves as the good guys, opposing, as they themselves state, the tyrannical Chrome. Now that both of the major corporations have taken interest in our work, it seems that Murakumo comes off as a rather more peaceful entity compared to Chrome. Speaking of Murakumo, they offer us more work regarding destruction of their malfunctioning worker robots at Isaac City Power Plant number 7. They urge us to be careful not to destroy any of the generators located there, as they would cause an explosion. Well, they were right. The best way to tackle this mission is not to shoot a single projectile and instead deal with the robots carefully with a laser blade. Easy money. Armored Core is a really loud game.
Hitting a generator could cause an explosion, so please be careful.
The sound balance is exhausting because most of the time sound effects are blasting your ears with full force. These go up to 11. Being a corporate lackey pays pretty well, but sometimes we do need to do a good thing and help out the neighboring Zam City Guard with repelling terrorist attacks. The City Guard informs us of a radical group called Imminent Storm, which is arming smaller radical groups. The City Guard admits that they are unable to conduct a thorough investigation as the Imminent Storm are backed up by some powerful individuals. It's yet again another dystopic setting that the law enforcement is just a cog in the clockwork of business. R also informs us of another armed radical group called Struggle, which are openly opposing Chrome. Despite their small-scale activities, it is a very known militaristic group which allegedly outsizes Imminent Storm. If the City Guard cannot deal with Imminent Storm, how are they able to deal with Struggle? Chrome and Murakumo don't seem to have any interest in helping the City Guard, So I wonder who's funding the radicals. Succeeding in missions as a Raven grants you points as a ranking pilot. The more points you have, higher you place in the ranks and the more difficult missions you're allowed in. The ranking system serves as just a place where you can check out the point standings. It's pretty cool to look at the other ACs how they're built. However, this system is developed further in the sequels, and we'll get to that in the second game. The next mission on the line is from Murakumo, as they are asking us to help them conduct a survey at a chemical dyne research lab. Murakumo is concerned about the troubling research in this lab, and they have deduced that chemical dyne's research is funded by Chrome. They request us to perform destruction duty inside the adjacent fuel depot to provide a diversion for the real survey unit. We are to destroy all the fuel tanks in the depot and get out. This is a very special mission for two reasons. One, it's a one-of-a-kind mission that disables your fire control systems, forcing you to rely on manual aiming. It's a really cool special mechanic, which is unfortunately not used in this game ever again. And two, it contains one of the most broken pieces of equipment in the whole series, hidden behind a set of fuel tanks. This is WG-1 Karasawa, a laser rifle or plasma rifle in some entries, named after the producer Yasuyoshi Karasawa. The Karasawa rifle is a quintessential Armored Core weapon, as it appears in every single one of the games in varying power, but in the first AC game, it is in its most powerful form. It's a fun, super overpowered weapon, but sometimes it does feel like it trivializes the game, so I'm trying not to use it. If the game feels a bit too hard, try to fit WG-1 Karasawa into your build. After dealing with the fuel depot, R sheds some light about Chemical Dyne. It is indeed a Chrome-backed company that has achieved a solid position in biochemicals. However, they are often a subject of rumors regarding dangerous experiments, so that is most likely one of the reasons why Murakumo is interested in this survey. After 11 missions, business as a Raven is booming, and we've been able to upgrade our AC a bit, and I'm feeling like recoloring our boomer. Next, we are contacted yet again by Murakumo, and they want us to guard their crucial freight train. They claim that they are unsure of enemy's exact target, but at the same time they don't give any information regarding what's inside that freight train. However, they are paying incredibly well, and they'll throw in another 10 grand if the train leaves fully intact. It's a quite normal defense mission against airborne units, until...
Enemy AC approaching. Number of ACs, 1.
An unknown red AC joins the fray and begins to attack the train. It's a boss battle. Unfortunately, it's way too easy. After finishing off the red AC, Murakumo contacts us. They seem to be very familiar with the pilot, as they claim that he was previously a very able Raven that failed a single mission and went MIA for years. Then he suddenly reappeared as a changed man and began attacking everyone on sight without mercy. Hey, look at that! We finally qualify as a ranking AC, nicely standing at number 9. The next mission takes us to a weapons facility where we are to locate and rescue a stranded research team. This level is a bit lengthier one with small tunnels after another. It's also full of small spider-like empties gone berserk, which is the reason that the research team is unable to return by themselves. These kinds of levels are not that fun to pilot a big AC, as there's really not much room to speed around, especially when the empties are blocking the way. Unfortunately, these kinds of cramped levels are common in AC1, and it's not a great level design choice. These levels also highlight another key problem with the game: the camera. The camera is basically glued behind your AC, and it's not flexible at all, as you have no means to rotate the camera in any way. Expect feelings of frustration in these kinds of cramped levels. After crawling through the tunnels and rescuing the research unit, R contacts us about Human Plus. R states that it's an advanced technology developed by Murakumo, where human organs are replaced with artificial components, allowing subjects to transcend their human capabilities. The subjects are usually soldiers, bodyguards, and VIPs, but it's rumored that some AC pilots have been augmented too. It is unknown how Murakumo has come up with this technology, as they are an industrial manufacturer just like Chrome, but Murakumo has somehow discovered this advanced technology. However, there are rumors of these plus enhancements altering subjects' mind for worse, and Chrome is very keen on exposing this. Very soon after, R implies that the pilot in Red AC was a plus subject, therefore explaining his aggressive tendencies and also explaining him seeking revenge on Murakumo. That would mean that the Murakumo freight train had something to do with plus. It is also very soon discovered by Chrome that Murakumo did not discover this technology themselves, as it is a technology from before the Great Destruction. Murakumo has been conducting human experiments behind closed doors in order to strengthen their position against Chrome. The skeletons in Murakumo Millennium's closet have been unveiled. Human Plus is a very crucial notion in the Armored Core universe, as it is a major in-game mechanic, vastly affecting gameplay. It is a hidden power-up system which allows a pilot to perform unnatural feats. The game keeps Human Plus very obscured, only shedding some light about the research itself. However, it is never explained how the player would be able to become a plus pilot. It is absurdly hard to figure it out yourself, but I guess the only in-game hint you get is the Red AC. He reportedly failed a mission badly and then went missing for several years. So, to unlock the Human Plus system in AC1, you have to gather 50,000 credits of depth. By reaching the needed amount of depth, a special cutscene is triggered.
Is this the subject for our next experiment?
Yes. His papers say he was a raven.
Oh, so he took the usual route here.
Seems to have piled up quite a debt.
Must have dashed his dreams. But he will be reborn in this experiment.
That is, if he lives.
You have a point there. Let's get started.
After being subjected to the surgery, the game effectively restarts from the beginning and changes your name to Rebel with a set of 3 randomized numbers. There are in total 6 power-ups and 1 procedure unlocks one of them, so you need to repeat this 6 times in order to be fully upgraded. These power-ups vary from integrated radar systems to laser blade projectiles, from doubled energy reserves to improved booster usage, and all the way to shoulder cannon usage while moving as a bipedal. It also allows you to ignore weight limitations. This means, as a plus pilot, you can effectively build a power fantasy AC, ignoring all the rules in building one. However, as the game implied, some AI pilots are also equipped with plus, so that would mean that some of the AI ACs are also ignoring the rules of the game. We'll see that in practice eventually. Now what's this? Stop Gang Dark Soul. No way. Could it be? The world of Armored Core feels very alive, as sometimes you meet ranking ACs in the battlefield as boss battles. In this mission, we are employed yet again, by Murakumo to destroy their crashed airplane holding secret data that cannot be released to the public. Chrome is interested in this data as well, and they hire a ranking AC to retrieve the data before the airplane is destroyed. The victor decides the fate of the data. By eliminating the Chrome AC, we effectively remove it from the ranking leaderboards. This is a very cool thing, pushing the immersion of the world, telling you that your actions have consequences. This means that every time we destroy a ranking AC, we effectively remove them from the game permanently, allowing us to rise in the ranks quicker. These boss battle missions are usually the ones that lead to game over sequence, if you're destroyed yourself. Sometimes the Raven's Nest also invites you to participate in AC battles. However, some of them feel weird because the organization is pitting you against 2 ACs at the same time. An even more abnormal detail is that only one of them is actually a ranked Nest Raven, identified as rank 3 AC Fafnir. Why would the Nest contact unaffiliated mercenaries in official AC battles? It's rather suspicious to me. Eliminating ranking ravens from the leaderboard allows new entries to rise up to the top 10, which makes the game feel very alive. Eventually, Chrome discovers the location of the leading struggle figure having meetings with Murakumo. Chrome hires us to eliminate the struggle leader in order to end its operations. This is one of the larger levels in the game, and it's also a special one. It has a special hidden part which is resting in the bottom of a great chasm. The part is laying on a pedestal. This one is one of the most overpowered weapons in the series, Laserblade LS1 Moonlight, or just Moonlight. It is a surprisingly light laser blade, outperforming every single other blade in the first generation, effectively making other blades irrelevant. As its name implies, it's based off the Moonlight Greatsword from the Kingsfield series. The Moonlight is present in every AC generation in some form, just like the Kurosawa rifle. The Moonlight is capable of dealing absurd amounts of damage, especially when combined with the blade beam projectile from the plus powers. Eliminating the struggle leader effectively ceases the group's operations. Chrome is very proud of this achievement, and based on their way of informing about this, Chrome is getting alarmingly hostile, even openly declaring Murakumo as a scum. We've effectively risen to the top 3 ravens in the leaderboards, and our AC is looking very spiffy. We are contacted by another ranking AC called Boss Savage, who asks us for our help in a mission he has taken. He states that he is a bit over his league and seeks help in completing the mission. He doesn't want to tell us who he's working with, but he offers all the money he was promised after accomplishing the mission, so away we go. A weird thing about this mission is the objective. Boss Savage tells us that the objective is the destruction of all enemies, but in the beginning we're told to split up to search for undisclosed secrets. It's another tunnel-styled level where everything looks the same, so hopefully you have a map system online to check your location and to avoid getting lost. Eventually we come up to a room where doors are locked behind us and we are trapped. Boss Savage contacts us and tells that it was his mission all along to eliminate us. So it was a setup all along, and someone hiring Boss Savage wants us out of the picture, hence the secrecy about the client. Break a wall nearby and continue traversing through the small tunnels in order to find a stationary submarine to escape the facility.
Escape pod discovered. System switched to normal mode.
After the escape, we receive mail from an unknown sender, most likely responsible for our assassination attempt. If someone wants us eliminated, what should we do? Well, of course we continue placing ourselves in danger and do more missions. At this point of the game, you've probably already figured out a loadout that you're feeling the most, and it leads you to locking into a single build. Unfortunately, this means that money loses its value and then you're just growing your bank account. I miss the times where every single credit was precisely calculated whether you could upgrade your AC or not. Not sure if this is a me problem, but I do like the humble beginnings when money matters in the game. Next we get a request from the Raven's Nest regarding a gas leak in the chemical weapons facility. We've been told that someone has tampered with the facility control panels, releasing dangerous gas. The Nest wants us to destroy all the tampered control panels with the explosives they provide. The thing with this mission is that the gas inside is corroding your AC, meaning that this level is the trademark From Software poison level. It's another maze of tunnels where you are to find those control panels. As unique as the mission is, it is unfortunately very punishing depending on your build. If you're rocking a slow AC or you're not equipped with an automap feature, you are most likely going to suffer. Upon finding all 5, you're instructed to leave the area, so hopefully you remember where to go because the time is ticking. Depending on your choices in completed missions, the game eventually branches at some point to either of 2 paths, either Chrome or Murakumo. In this playthrough, we are eventually aligned with Chrome, and this leads to Murakumo seizing control and reactivating the orbital weapon Justice, which forced humanity underground in the first place. Upon hearing this, Chrome sends us to space to destroy Justice itself, so that Murakumo cannot repeat humanity's recent mistakes. Justice mission is a short but an interesting one. We are to destroy its peripheral energy chargers to delay the firing and then destroy the force fields protecting the main firing system. Destruction of Justice completes the Chrome path and effectively collapses Murakumo Millennium.
So, I have failed. This means the end of Murakumo. After all, pawns are mere pawns.
Depending on which corporation you're aligned with, you'll receive different missions serving the corporation you're aligned with. No matter which one you're choosing, the ultimate end is the same, which is both of the corporations ceasing to exist.
The struggle for market share between Murakumo and the up-and-coming Verge company is becoming more and more intense. Future developments look interesting.
So, nothing has changed after all.
After the corporation's collapse, Raven's Nest orders us to perform a search of a Chrome military facility, which has some rumors circling around that some Chrome-affiliated group has been visiting there. We are to search for Chrome loyalists and remove them effectively. Upon taking a closer look at the facility, it seems totally deserted, so it was just a rumor after all. When we reach the lowest parts of the facility, the Nest informs us to return as there's no one there after all. However, it is an ambush, multiple MTs blocking our way to the surface. Upon reaching the surface,
You are still alive? But we will end that now. Don't you understand? You are totally out of line. You are going overboard.
Enemy ranking AC, identified as Sledgehammer.
we meet with a familiar fellow, Boss Savage AC Sledgehammer. Finally a one-on-one with this guy. Boss Savage is actually a pretty decent boss, providing an exciting challenge. He pilots a heavyweight AC with a bazooka, providing serious punishment. Keep on moving to dodge the bazooka, or be prepared for some serious pain. AC Sledgehammer is very well armored against shell weapons, but its weakness lies in the lower energy defenses. Luckily, I'm rocking a pulse rifle here, which is, in fact, an energy weapon. Boss Savage goes down and the mission ends. This one was also a setup mission, however it was requested by the nest itself. Adding that with the info Boss Savage gave us before the battle, it seems that the Raven's Nest is in fact the entity after our head. This leads to the final mission of the game, Destroy Floating Mines, requested by, yet again, the Raven's Nest. They state that an armed group infiltrated Nest HQ and the group managed to deploy a set of floating mines. The Nest claims that they would normally deal with these mines themselves, but these mines are of a special structure, so they require our help specifically. So it's obviously another trap. Upon reaching the Nest HQ, we are met with the toughest MTs the game can offer, so it's confirmed that the Nest wants us dead. This particular mission is split into two halves. The first one is mostly about destroying the opposition as it unlocks the way forward. We also discover the floating mines, which don't need to be destroyed after all. However, they do inflict massive damage if come into contact with one. After destroying all the MTs, the second half of the mission starts. Upon starting the second half, we are given fully repaired AC with ammunition refilled, and a mechanical voice is commanding us to stop. The second half begins with a notorious room. It is a huge towering room where you are to travel up as far as you can go in order to proceed in the level. It's filled with annoying turrets and MTs that can easily knock you back into falling down again. It's potentially a very frustrating section depending on your AC and piloting skills. After reaching the top, we are met with more taunting by that mechanical voice.
Resistance is futile.
And then...
Your fate is sealed.
Enemy ranking AC identified as 9-ball.
The number 1 Raven, Hustler 1, AC 9-ball attacks us. 9-ball is fought in a large, cylinder-like room, which is very advantageous to him. 9-ball is a very tough opponent equipped with all the plus power-ups and a special rapid-fire pulse rifle that is completely unobtainable by the player. We managed to defeat 9-ball with almost 10% our armor points remaining, and then we descend the cylinder towards another tunnel. Upon reaching the end of the tunnel, we're taunted again by the same robotic voice and another 9-ball AC. 9-ball is not an actual pilot, so therefore we ignore the second 9-ball and begin our ascent towards the end. Eventually we discover a central core unit labeled as a target. The robotic voice taunts us once more until we destroy the core, ending the game.
Are you satisfied? Do you want to destroy order? Destroy the world, is that what you want? We were needed. That's why we were born. People cannot live without order, even if it is a lie. Go on living, Raven. You or I? Which one of us was ultimately right? You have the right, the duty to find that out.
Hustler 1 was a super advanced AI designated to overwatch and control humanity's best interests. Upon deeming the player Raven as a risk for world order, it tried everything to remove us, even sending Boss Savage to eliminate us, who did state that we went over the line with our actions. Eventually it also deployed 2 special 9-ball ACs to destroy us. The 9-ball ACs were only used when the AI deemed that direct action was required. 9-Ball became the #1 ranking Nest AC with a mythical track record indicated by a clear point lead. Hustler 1 also kept the corporations in check to maintain order in the new underground world. After the corporations began getting too powerful, the AI manipulated the war between the corporations so that both of them would eventually collapse. This is most likely due to both of the corporations discovering some pre-Great Destruction technology for their own power-hungry uses. After the Raven destroys the AI's central unit, Raven's Nest also collapses and humanity is left to forge its own fate. Armored Core, in short, is a solid game. A fun and interesting start to the franchise, developing its identity with an emphasis in customization, which builds up to small missions up to 10 minutes, excluding the final mission, which is doubled in length. Overall, it's going to be a 5 to 8 hour ride, depending on the pilot's abilities. It is a complicated, dystopic underground world with mega corporations clashing with each other to find out who holds all the chips. In the end, it serves us a topical question whether humanity should be overseen by an AI, or should we, flawed human individuals, be free to shape the world order how we see fit. Should the strong be in power, or should we pursue a multipolar world order? Nonetheless, it is a fascinating topic worthy of endless conversations. Even if the core message is impactful, the story itself doesn't feel all too important, because, yet again, in true From Software fashion, the majority can be missed as you're never forced to check out your mail inbox. In essence, it's potentially just a mecha robot mercenary simulator, which it first and foremost tries to be, and, in my opinion, succeeds with flying colors. The gameplay goes first, which seems to be a common From Software thing. I think some of the story elements are a bit too easy to guess beforehand, such as the radical group's Struggle and Imminent Storm being funded by the two major corpos, resulting in the law enforcement unable to remove these armed radical groups. The game overall is a bit challenging due to the complexity of building an AC. The mission difficulty is usually fair, with few exceptions being somewhat ballbusters, testing out your knowledge in piloting an AC and knowing how to equip it appropriately to a certain mission. To learn all this is not a small feat. The learning curve, especially with building an effective AC, is quite steep. There are so many different values and properties, so it can feel almost like a work to learn the game, but when you do, it's just plain fun. There's a surprising amount of finesse involved already in the first game, for example, advanced techniques like an airborne descending blade strike, able to triple your blade power, or bunny hopping, which is more or less still a thing in a couple of AC generations to come. The level design is a mixed bag. You're piloting a huge robot, and yet very many of the levels are near claustrophobic tunnels and boxes. All the large open levels are amazing to pilot through, and the gameplay feels great. So why are these levels in the minority? It's hard to determine the real reason, but perhaps it's due to the most of the levels happening underground, although there are levels in which you are actually above ground. Most likely the real reason was to keep the amount of polygons in moderation so that the frame rate stays okay. The sound effects are super loud, but they do feel impactful. Cannons and grenade launchers in particular are very satisfying to use, which is most likely why tank treads and quad legs are most popular within the first playthroughs, as they are most flexible with big shoulder cannons without plus. The soundtrack is filled with solid techno music with few absolute bangers. Another hard thing to grasp is the economy of the game, as it's rather easy to get swamped in debt. At the first time, most likely you will not be able to understand how expensive all the repairs and ammunition can get. The expenses ramp up really quickly, especially when learning the ropes, and failing a mission can be a devastating blow to your career as a Raven. Even succeeding in a mission may not mean that you're actually getting paid. Luckily, there lies a so-called easy mode with the Human Plus upgrades. Upon plummeting to 50,000 credits of debt, you are granted a single hidden bonus ability to ease your playthrough. As mentioned previously, the downside is that you effectively restart the game, so it's advised to do it early in order to lose minimal progress. The Plus upgrades are considered controversial in the AC scene because how they trivialize the game. Elitism is an unfortunate thing. I personally think that the Plus system is super fun. It's sometimes unbelievably fun to do a power fantasy playthrough where you absolutely decimate the game. I do think it also serves as a way for everyone to enjoy the game in their own way, as we all are individuals with varying capabilities. How about letting people enjoy games how they like? The Plus powers remind me a bit of a certain thing in the Souls games, where dying multiple times in the same place makes the enemies in the proximity not come back after the player respawns. Nonetheless, the Human Plus is a crucial notion in the Armored Core universe, and it's present in every single generation in some form, even in the current 6th generation. Essentially, Armored Core is a menu crawler. It's slow to hop between all the menu screens, especially when you're testing your AC with new parts, jumping between garage and shop multiple times, and sometimes it does feel tedious. The amount of different parts is just astounding. It must have been a tremendous amount of work to design all of them as individual modules, so the players would have thousands of different combinations to go for. All the visible parts look stylish, and most of them look very unique. A huge plus is that the game encourages you to try different things, as all the parts can be sold with the purchase price, so you always get your money back in full if you make a wrong purchase. This also means that there is no absolute way to softlock yourself out of the core gameplay loop. My personal gripe with the game lies in the balancing, and to be completely honest, most likely it doesn't even matter to the first timers. There's just a crazy amount of different weapons to use, but unfortunately a couple of them are so overpowered that there's really no reason not to use them unless you decide to ban them from your playthrough. To mention the most powerful ones, they would be the Kurosawa laser rifle and the Moonlight blade. The Kurosawa rifle is ridiculously powerful with its sheer power and fire rate, considering it consumes quite a low amount of energy with rapid fire capabilities. This weapon destroys every single target in the game in mere seconds. The Moonlight absolutely obliterates the rest of the blades in the game, considering its obscene power accompanied by low energy usage and lightweight. Both of these overpowered parts are generally way too lightweight considering their sheer strength. Another nitpick of mine would be that some of the bosses in the game possess a unique tuned custom weapon, which are a real marvel to witness. Examples would be AC Valkyrie's slug gun and 9-Ball's pulse rifle. Too bad that you, as a player, cannot get these tuned weapons, because that would be, for example, a cool completion bonus. The OG AC1 was generally well received, and it even sold really well, especially in Japan, and thus was greenlit with an expansion. The multiplayer versus mode was received with enthusiasm, and there were quite a lot of small tournaments organized. These tournaments would be realized in full during the sequels. According to the media back in the day, it was thought that maybe Armored Core would be a mecha fighting game. The PvP enthusiasm was well predicted by the team. However, the sales in the Western world were not that impressive, even though Armored Core was a common sight in the demo discs back in the day. I remember it all too well, playing non-stop that AC1 demo at my dad's house. Unfortunately, due to poor sales in the European territory, we Europeans had to wait for the next generation consoles for the next Armored Core game. Nonetheless, the Japanese market didn't have to wait for a long time for the next AC game to hit the shelves, as Project Phantasma was already on its way. The follow-up Project Phantasma was developed and released in mere 5 months for the Japanese markets. The North Americans had to wait for almost a year, so they had Phantasma a bit later. But only 5 months for a totally new Armored Core game. That's insane. The intro FMV is a showcase of different ACs, with some of them highlighting completely new parts, and it looks decent. But it doesn't really match the excitement of the previous one, and it also lacks that simulation aspect AC1 had. The music, on the other hand, is just incredible. Let's select Scenario Mode, and from here we can import our save game from Armored Core 1 just by selecting Load Game. And here's our boomer! After importing our save file, we are met with nothing. Only the familiar menu system and no new mail to be found. This is a very weird thing, because when you start a completely new game, you're given a small prologue text. If you import a save file from AC1, you get nothing. The new game prologue states that an unknown individual requests us to attack an underground city complex, Amber Crown. The importance of success is emphasized very heavily, so we are to set up our AC for another battle. Upon checking out the shop, it seems that there's quite a lot of parts available, even some new ones. Project Phantasma doesn't introduce new parts to the shop gradually as AC1 did. Roughly 95% of the parts can be bought immediately, and the rest are special unlockable rewards. We also keep all the parts and credits we had in AC1, so the economy factor is out of the window if you're importing your save file. Another small downgrade compared to AC1 is that there are no hidden parts in the missions, which is an unfortunate thing. However, they did improve one certain thing. AC1 had some problems in explaining things in-game, but Project Phantasma remedies that by adding an info box to all the menu systems. By pressing start in the menu screens, we're given a good amount of basic info regarding the systems in question. Project Phantasma opens up with a kind of an evaluation mission where the previously mentioned unknown requester asks us to perform a small task to see if we're worth the task. It is a simple destruction type mission where we are to remove all enemies from the perimeter. The first thing that comes to mind is that this game feels quite less optimized compared to AC1, as there are instantly heavy frame drops during the mission. Nonetheless, it is an easy introductory mission, which leads to the main request, that is to attack the Amber Crown entrance. We are instructed to destroy 4 underground condenser units to gain access to the Amber Crown city. We are provided no information why are we doing this, but I guess money is money. Not that we really need it, because we did import our save. It is a very refreshing mission, providing a lot of variety, such as destroying specific generator units to gain access inside. Project Phantasma starts off with a strong second level. Next, we're given instructions to conduct a rescue operation inside the Amber Crown compound. There are 3 armored cars with an MT convoy passing through a specific junction. We are to attack the convoy while destroying all the enemies, leaving the middle car intact as it contains the rescue target. After completing our objective, we are intercepted by a special AC.
All the traps we have set have been destroyed. Useless. This is a warning. Leave the premises immediately. You cannot hope to defeat Stinger. Listen, I don't like annoyances.
After a hilariously janky and one-dimensional character introduction, the special AC piloted by an individual called Stinger destroys the car containing our rescue target. Stinger himself comes off as an edgy fellow and he flies away stating his particular dislike in annoyances. So, did we fail the mission after all? After that mess of a mission, we are contacted by the unknown requester and they state that someone sent us a fake request. It was most likely by Stinger's employee, suggesting that they set us a trap with the MT convoy in the Ambercrown Junction just to get rid of us. I do believe we've been set up so many different times before that we can be considered as a specialist in these kinds of situations. In fact, there is a real rescue mission to be done, but the requester is uncertain about the precise location of the target, so they send us to raid a laboratory that probably has the target inside. Unfortunately, Project Phantasma's strong start has ended already in mission number 4, as this mission is, yet again, one of those tunnel-like, claustrophobic missions. On the other hand, it already pits us against Stinger. Stinger, or AC Vixen, is a stylish special unit built from completely unobtainable parts. AC Vixen is equipped with a special laser blade and a triple laser rifle. Unfortunately, this boss battle is over very quickly, as Stinger doesn't really stand a chance against our imported AC. Upon defeat, he states that he will go somewhere, but I've no idea how he will do that, as his AC is just standing there destroyed. Well, I guess he's taking the walk later. We leave the smoking Stinger alone and proceed to find our rescue target. Our target has been able to escape and has managed to hijack a battle rig, but it seems that she is in need of help as she is pursued by 2 other battle rigs. After destroying the enemy battle rigs, together with the target, we speed towards a stationary aircraft and leave Ambercrown.
Thank you for your assistance. I am Sumika. I am the one who requested the rescue mission.
Sumika is a raven from Ambercrown. She was almost a test subject regarding an advanced weapons system known as Phantasma. The experiments are conducted by a group called the Doomsday Organization, and their interest is to integrate machines with the human brain. Sumika declares that she will stop the Doomsday Organization, and we are dragged to this mess whether we like it or not. I do hope she's a rich raven herself, as our services are not cheap. Hey, that's a very normal Finnish name. Project Phantasma is a very linear experience, offering very little immersion compared to AC1. The main story is just a mediocre mission after another, requested by Sumika. There are 3 times you get to choose between 2 missions, but it doesn't matter which one you choose regarding the progression of the game. These choices are always between a quick combat mission and an exploration mission. I think that they should have added some hidden parts to those exploration missions, as they are more lengthy than the combat ones. That would have been a fair balance, because everyone always picks the quick combat missions. When you get to choose a mission between 2, both of them feel like fillers just to make the game a bit longer. The game is very short, we'll get to that eventually, but I'm not feeling these kinds of filler missions. Next up, capture the VIP. Sumika requests that we capture a high-ranking officer having meetings with the Doomsday Organization. We need to capture him in order to interrogate him regarding Phantasma. This mission begins with a stealth section, which is just a weird thought because we are piloting a giant mecha robot. These things are really not fit for stealth operations. Anyways, we are to follow Sumika's orders based on the mission briefing, so try to remember the correct directions given to you and do not take flight or open fire unless told so. Upon reaching the meeting point and confirming the target VIP entering the main building, we destroy the opposition and capture the VIP. It looks quite funky to see an actual human before a giant AC. We've never seen a human next to one. After that, we learn that an unknown corporation is working with the Doomsday organization regarding Phantasma. For some reason, we are to relocate a prisoner for further interrogations, so it's time for a defensive mission in the slums of Amber Crown. After a janky introduction, we are to protect the VIP car and destroy all the MTs attacking. Stinger also makes his grand appearance once again and goes through the same edginess as usual until we smoke him again and he flies off to lick his wounds. Sumika informs us that she has detailed information about Phantasma and therefore she wants us to pull a direct attack on Doomsday Organization HQ. She also warns us of Stinger making his move, so we need to be ready for it. Sumika, I got 2 questions. 1. What is that detailed information? And 2. Who is Stinger?
Who is your daddy?
What are his motives? Explanations, please. Nonetheless, we commence the attack on the HQ. It is the longest mission in the game, and unfortunately, it's again one of these tunnel levels. After reaching the deepest corners of the level, we are closed off to a room to fight some MTs until Sumika has downloaded all the data. And here I thought we were going to destroy everything, but we were just after some data. After Sumika's done, we are to return all the way back to the surface, and then bombers suddenly attack to wipe the base along our ACs. They also send a cheeky paratrooper detachment, which we destroy easily. Good try, good try. Sumika implies that the Doomsday Organization is no more, and the base was bombarded by the corporation that was working with them. The reason for the attack was to wipe out all the evidence about the Phantasma research. And then Sumika suddenly learns that Stinger is in fact behind the Phantasma weapon, and he has been hiding with some Doomsday officials in the snowy North Highlands. Okay, fine. Unsurprisingly, she sends us to eliminate these officials. But to be honest, it's a good basic level with a unique setting and so much room to speed through with an AC. So much fun. Eventually Stinger makes his appearance and it seems that he has abandoned AC Vixen and he is rocking a new very powerful craft, a prototype Phantasma. This prototype is fortunately incomplete and lacks most of its intended features. It is a slow, big target, mostly just launching vertical missiles that deal big damage if you're not boosting around. Prototype Phantasma is more bark than bite. Just keep dealing damage and it goes down really fast, forcing Stinger to retreat once again. After returning from the mission, Sumika states that the skirmish in the North Highland was a distraction to keep us away from their real base. Next up are some filler missions about searching for the true Phantasma, eventually leading to yet another one of these lengthier missions that is one of these tiny tunnel missions. Stinger is also back rocking the familiar AC Vixen. This battle is surprisingly tough. That triple laser of his is doing a lot of work. It is not a particularly exhilarating boss because both parties are just shooting each other until the other one goes down. You really cannot dodge the triple laser comfortably, so better keep the offensive going. After Stinger goes down again, he makes his escape with the finished Phantasma weapon. This leads to the final mission in the game, thank God, titled The Final Battle. Curiously, it is requested by Phantasma. The briefing is just Stinger taunting us to meet him at his edgelord crib, known as the Abyss.
Welcome to the Abyss. This is where I merged and became one with Phantasma. No one can stop me now. Die!
Stinger has finally merged with the finished Phantasma, and he commences his attack after some edgy voice lines. I have to say that this is a damn cool boss battle. The complete Phantasma is equipped with a plethora of different weapons, varying from rainbow lasers and vertical missiles, super damaging large missiles and machine guns. Now this is a true treat. It is a very fair one-on-one fight, and upon destroying the Phantasma, the game is beaten.
I'm losing? Impossible. I'm burning. Phantasma, I'm dying.
We did it. We destroyed Phantasma. Maybe we could have adapted the technology, but I guess it's better this way. I would like to ask for your help again later. You are quite a strong ally to have. Just give me a discount next time, huh?
It is a janky ending cutscene with plenty of awkward moments of silence. However, beating the main story doesn't mean that we're done with this game. It's time to tackle the arena. Project Phantasma introduces a brand new game mode, the arena. It is a series staple which allows you to do one-on-one battles against AI ACs. It's a fan favorite feature that is present in almost every single AC game. Unfortunately, Project Phantasma Arena is a rough, uncut gem, as the game doesn't really fully support the arena system. There should be more ACs in the garage, as missions and arena are two completely different environments, meaning that there is really no way to build a single AC that is effective in both scenarios. Missions require more ammunition and strategy, and arena requires rapid decision making with precise heavy firepower. It is almost impossible to create a perfect AC that can deal with everything unless you're utilizing Human Plus in all its power and also using overpowered weapons such as the Kurosawa rifle, which is in fact absent in this game, unless you're importing a save file that has obtained it in AC1. In fact, every single major overpowered weapon in the previous game is absent in Project Phantasma. Speaking of overpowered weapons, Project Phantasma also introduces a new super overpowered weapon called the Finger. It is a completion reward for beating the Arena Rank 1 Necron, so I'm giving this weapon a pass. I feel like all the completion bonuses should be like this. So how's the arena itself? Well, the first 30 matches are unfortunately fought against a dumb AI that feels like a moving target dummy. On the other hand, the advanced opponents are the very opposite, abusing Human Plus benefits accompanied with the most overpowered weapons in the game with no limits. As some players in the AC community would say, the hardest opponents are plain cheaters. Imagine playing Counter-Strike where your opponent has every helper downloaded from those suspicious websites. We'll tackle the cheating AI a bit more during Master of Arena. Battling some of the later opponents feels like a rock-paper-scissors competition where both parties use rock until the other rock crumbles down. This means that some matches will become blitzkrieg exhibitions that are over in 10 seconds, and the victor is the one who hits his nuclear bombs quicker. You kinda do have to join the party in order to stand a chance, as gameplay mechanics just aren't there yet, allowing true expression of skill. Owned! The Kurosawa rifle is sure, fair and balanced. Serves you right, you cheaty AI. Project Phantasma is comparable to what modern story DLCs usually are, or that's how it feels like. It is not a sequel to the original game, but according to the Armored Core wiki, it is in fact a prequel to AC1, taking place 2 years before. To me, it feels like an additional story about what could happen to the player Raven during AC1. Imagine performing missions midway AC1 and then you're offered a special mission from an unknown requester, unlocking the Phantasma storyline, which can be completed as a separate extra mission pack during your AC1 playthrough. Project Phantasma is ridiculously short, as the main story can be completed in mere 90 minutes depending on your mission choices. There are 17 missions in total, from which 3 of them are available only when playing NG+ or doing a second playthrough. That means, no matter your mission choices, you're playing meager 14 missions in a single playthrough. A significant downgrade compared to AC1, which had approximately 50 missions. This also means that the game cannot revolve around managing the economy as much as it did previously, because of the focus shifting from the simulator-styled game into a story-driven experience. The missions are much more lucrative, and the arena nets quite a lot of cash. Of course, if you're importing your save from AC1, the economy factor is straight out of the window. Project Phantasma is a personal story where it sometimes does feel like that the player isn't really playing the main part. Sometimes it feels like you're playing Sumika's story. Kinda feels like playing Monster Hunter Wilds, where you, the player, are more like a side character, which is not necessarily a problem. The problem here is that Sumika isn't particularly interesting as a character. She is just a special client of yours, who you're supposed to be emotionally connected with. The game basically only touches the surface and forgets it there. The true final boss problem lies in the story itself. It's paced horribly. It feels like sometimes we're not progressing at all, and sometimes we're taking huge leaps, rushing the story forward. It tries to be intense in story, and at the same time it tries to be a mission-based simulator, which doesn't work here. The story isn't fully fleshed out, and the simulation aspect is lacking heavily. All the major characters are forgettable, especially Stinger. Despite piloting a stylish AC, Stinger as a character is so one-dimensional that it hurts. He really has no motives in his actions, and he feels like that edgy guy from high school who has enjoyed way too much gloomy anime. He really has no endgame, and he just wants to have Phantasma so that he can merge with it due to reasons unknown. Quite a lot of information is left unexplained on the table. For example, what corporation was working together with the Doomsday Organization, or who the hell was Stinger anyways. The level design has exactly the same problems as AC1, so there's really nothing new to add. I do feel like the performance issues were much more noticeable in Project Phantasma, especially with closed box-like levels with new enemies wielding explosive cannon weaponry. The part balance in the game is exactly the same as in AC1, so everything that was broken previously is still very broken. Perhaps that was the reason to exclude the broken weapons from the new players. However, there are good things. This is the very first game introducing a crucial element to an AC game, which is the arena. One-on-one boss battles of varying sorts, and you get to decide the match location. A super cool idea, which has, as discussed before, become a staple of the series. I'm personally a huge fan of the arena, and Project Phantasma was the first one to have it. After playing through Project Phantasma, it is very clear to me how From Software was able to develop and ship it in mere 5 months. It did try new things, but in the end, it's short, offers a very low amount of excitement, only few new parts, and overall it feels unpolished. It doesn't feel like worthy of being sold as a separate full-priced game. But hey, the final Phantasma was really cool. Despite all of this, it sold very well in Japan, greenlighting yet another installment to the Armored Core series. It is very likely that From Software was aware of the unrealized potential of Project Phantasma, so they took their time with the third one. Instead of doing 3 back-to-back releases of Armored Core, From Software wanted to dip their feet into 2 other projects, which eventually were realized as Shadow Tower, a Kingsfield-like adventure game, and Echo Knight, a first-person horror adventure game. The Armored Core team also had some changes as the original director, Yasuyoshi Karasawa, stepped out of the team as Toshifumi Nabeshima took the mantle of the producer. After the release of Echo Knight, it was time to bring back AC with a bang. Enter Master of Arena. The intro sequence is actually really cool. It represents the arena aspect the game is heavily leaning into, and it also represents the simulation aspect, as we can see a pilot assembling his AC and you, the player, can build it in-game by following the parts shown in the FMV. Just look at the cheeky pilot also using the Karasawa rifle, he knows it's broken. Also a familiar emblem makes its return, 9-Ball has returned. After importing our Project Phantasma save file, we're back again in a very familiar place. But now it's had a facelift. New background, new icons, and more arena modes, accompanied by the best menu music. But yet again, we are thrown into the menu screen without any briefing or prologue about the story. It's the same thing as in Project Phantasma, where you need to create a totally new save file to get a small prologue, setting up the story of the game. Master of Arena is another personal story where you, the player, are set on a path of revenge. An AC in Crimson Red, also known as 9-Ball, has killed your parents and you have been offered a way to exact vengeance by joining the Raven's Nest. You join the nest and your target is Hustler 1, 9-Ball, who sits as the #1 pilot in the arena, as expected. The path of revenge is a rocky one, as we are introduced to our contact in the Raven's Nest. Our contact is Lana Nielsen, who made us a Raven in the first place. She greenlights all the missions for us and we are not allowed to have any free will regarding them. It seems like she has already negotiated a mission for us that should not be too hard. But before launching our AC, let's check out the shop again. Master of Arena follows the same idea as Project Phantasma, where the majority of the parts are already available from the get-go. This also means the Karasawa rifle and other menaces, as every part is back again. However, Master of Arena has had plenty of part rebalancing. For example, the mighty Karasawa has had a well-deserved weight increase. Unfortunately, it is still unfathomably powerful and arguably, yet again, one of the strongest weapons in the game. Some of the previously overpowered weapons got a really big nerf, such as the finger, which actually had its ammo reserves severely cut from 3000 to mere 500, and its attack power got almost halved, and its reload time got doubled. It's still a good close quarters weapon in my opinion, favoring light rushdown builds, but it's definitely a fair weapon now. Just as in Project Phantasma, you keep all the parts and credits accumulated from previous games if you're importing your save data. I do think we are up for some upgrades, so it's time to rearrange our boomer a bit before taking on some missions. It seems that they've also redesigned the test arena and it looks very stylish to me. After some upgrades, we take the mission that Lana has approved. Isaac's city guard requests us to capture an escaped criminal, a corporate hacker who has hijacked an armored car and locked himself somewhere in the city botanical zone. He has hacked all the security MTs to guard him, so a Raven is needed for this work. Master of Arena begins again with one of these tunnel-like levels, but now there's considerably more room to maneuver in. By the looks of it, From Software has learned from its previous mistakes. The mission itself is more leaning to the exploration side. Basically, we need to keep on exploring until the hacker is found. Our target is located behind a closed gate, which needs to be unlocked by destroying a lock control module somewhere in the area. After that, return to the closed gate and make your way to the hacker, who surrenders immediately.
Nineball? What's a top-ranked Arena AC doing here?
I heard you've been looking for me. I don't care who you are. No one can defeat me.
Nineball makes a surprise appearance and blows up the hacker himself before we can capture him. Nineball taunts us and takes his leave. After the mission, Lana sends us an email about Nineball. Apparently there's not a lot of info about him. He's a top-ranked AC with no defeats on his record. Lana implies that the only way to face Nineball is to climb up the rankings and challenge him to one-on-one. We are to seek a corporate sponsor in order to be allowed to compete in the arena. Lana's attitude towards all of this is a bit shady, as she is kinda doubting us already, and it seems like she does know more about Nineball. No matter how it is, we do need to participate in more missions to attract that sponsor. In Master of Arena, corporations and companies are back as an element of the game's story. Not as well as in AC1, but not as disregarded as in Project Phantasma. In this story, we are not dealing with the facades of Chrome and Murakumo Millennium, but instead, we are met with new, smaller companies. This mission is from R&G Industries, where we are to secure a meteor that is expected to fall into a specific location. The problem is that the other competing corporations are also interested in this, so it's a job for a Raven. I'm calling the shotgun when the meteor falls. It's a solid mission located in an open desert area where there's plenty of room to pilot an AC. There's also a boss battle already in the second mission. AC Regulon attacks us after the destruction of smaller MTs. He is equipped with plenty of machine guns, so he works well in closer ranges. We give him some missiles to chew on until he goes down. Regulon was a competitor in the sub-arena, which is like the lower division to the main arena, where the true competition lies. And that's where Nineball's too. Regulon's elimination opens up a spot in the sub-arena, just like in AC1, so now we just need to get a corporation interested in sponsoring us. I really love that they brought back the immersive world, with the arena rankings changing drastically depending on your success in the missions. In order to grab ourselves a sponsorship, we need to head back to the field. There are plenty of missions to choose from, but unfortunately it doesn't matter which missions you take, because it is predetermined what group takes interest in you. It would have been so cool to get sponsored by different companies, which altered your playthrough a bit. Different missions, different part rewards, and different story elements leading to the finale. It could be that From Software was thinking about doing this, but they most likely were unable to realize this because of the technical limitations. Eventually, due to our up and rising reputation, one of the companies offers us a sponsorship. ProgTech, a company that is known for developing very advanced and highly irregular parts. ProgTech wants us to prove ourselves by beating every AC in the sub-arena, so they can authorize our access to the real playground. However, there is a problem. Someone has already taken Regulon's spot in the sub-arena, so we need someone else to relinquish their spot to us. And that means we need to eliminate another sub-arena pilot to earn a spot. Next, we're allowed to make a choice between 3 missions, which all target a specific sub-arena competitor. Check the briefings and pick whichever suits your tastes best. In this playthrough, we attack the Chrome HQ, where our target is AC Hercules. Hercules is on guard duty, so he is an easy target. This AC is a bulky heavyweight with surprisingly low amount of firepower, considering that his choice of legs would allow much more. Hercules goes down, and we are granted a spot in the sub-arena. ProgTech also hands us a small prototype blade as a goodwill gift. We learn that this part was made by a famous scientist who is responsible of ProgTech's major success. Lana warns us about ProgTech as she thinks that they're only going to use us to advertise themselves. As a sub-arena competitor, we are allowed to tackle the opponents however we want, as in sub-arena there are no rankings. As our sponsor stated, every single one has to be defeated in order to gain access to the real arena. There are still missions available if you're feeling like launching into them, but the arena is the main objective of the game in order to exact our revenge. Honestly, the sub-arena offers a surprisingly good amount of different ACs to battle against. All of them are fair challenges with 0+ ACs. Sub-arena offers us plenty of money and Master of Arena exclusive parts. For now, the game has been a pleasant balance of solid missions blended with an interesting arena. Unfortunately, our happiness in the arena comes to a sudden halt when ProgTech contacts us with an emergency mission. Lana forbade us to take any missions on our own, so we should just ignore this request. The company revokes our arena license, making it impossible to challenge any more opponents, so we need to take the mission without Lana's approval. This mission is a direct request from ProgTech, where our objective is to defend their marine laboratory. It is under attack by an unknown special MT unit, which is allegedly very powerful, as ProgTech also employed another Raven that was overwhelmed by the attack. We are to destroy the MTs, guard the lab, and rescue the second Raven. The normal MTs attacking the lab aren't a major threat, so we rescue ProgTech's other Raven easily. Eventually the special MT makes its appearance. The other AC retreats cowardly as we are to take the MT by ourselves. It's a big MT unit, larger than an AC, but its glaring weakness is close-range combat. It has no means to repel a blading AC, so keep on slashing until it goes down. After a successful operation, ProgTech head scientist Elan Cubis contacts us, thanking us for our assistance. He believes that the special MT was old technology from the times before the Great Destruction. He fears that the attack was not a normal one, as no one should be able to possess any advanced old technology. Lana also sends us a rage mail where she's pissed off that we took a mission request directly from ProgTech without her approval. She berates us and demands us not to do it ever again. After getting scolded by a person we've never met before, we take our frustrations to the sub-arena because our license is valid again. Hey, it's that red tank AC we saved in the Marine Lab. A well-known partier of the AC arena circuit. Most wonder how he ever got this far. Yeah, I completely agree, he doesn't even fight back. After beating every sub-arena opponent, we have proved our worth to access the real arena. Unfortunately, the bracket is full, so we need to wait for an open spot. While waiting, we take a mission where we are to destroy a special mobile fortress. a radical group has taken control of this battleship and the city guard requests a Raven to destroy it. A very cool, kind of a boss battle to me. In order to disable the battleship, we are to destroy all of its weapons. It's equipped with missile batteries and cannon towers capable of reducing game performance towards 12 frames per second. Nonetheless, it's a fun one. Next mission is another request from ProcTech. It's approved by Lana, so we're able to take it without getting chewed on again. A ranking AC has stolen secret materials from ProcTech and has taken them to an abandoned mine complex. This mission is a perfect opportunity for us because eliminating a ranking AC opens up a spot in the arena, so we're taking this one with open arms. Unfortunately, this is a rather weak level. It's mostly vertical tunnels that you're to descend or ascend in order to reach the target. If you're equipped with a weak generator and boosters, prepare to suffer here. After reaching the mine itself, AC Wolf is identified as ranking AC, so we take him on. Wolf should not be underestimated as his tank AC packs some serious punch with cannons and large missiles. However, he lacks the skills to take full use of his AC and he gets shredded by our laser rifle. After securing the ProcTech materials, the mission is a success. And it is a real success indeed because we have been officially registered to the real arena, so 9-ball here we come. The main arena doesn't differ too much from the sub-arena. The opponents are still very fair fights, except some of them are now rocking ultra-powerful parts, such as the... well, you know what rifle we're talking about. The thing is that they are mostly lacking in piloting ability, so they are not taking full advantage of those broken parts. This time, all the opponents have to be battled in order. After reaching rank 10, ProcTech revokes our license yet again to request us directly to defend yet another one of those laboratories that is under attack by unknown forces. We have to take the mission without Lana's approval in order to get back into the arena. There are 4 gates leading to the labs and every one of them has to stay intact, so that's our mission objective. The attacks are commenced in waves, so after destroying the previous one, a new one attacks a different gate. The game informs you very well which gate is under attack, but it's rather difficult to determine which gate is which, so just keep on circling around the mission area and check your radar to find new empties to destroy. After a while, we are informed that there is only a single unit remaining at gate 4 and we need to destroy it like all the other empties. However, the attacking unit is actually AC 9-ball. He questions our presence in the labs and he attacks us. This 9-ball is weaker than what we've come to know in AC1. However, he should not be underestimated as he is a plus pilot with a dangerous grenade launcher. Eventually 9-ball deems us too powerful as he turns tail. As it was already bound to be, Lana berates us once again for acting behind her back. This time it's a different scenario as she cuts off our Raven's Nest support and resigns as our contact, stating that we'll die soon enough. To be completely honest, this is just great. We are finally a free Raven able to do whatever we want. She has just been complaining and antagonizing us during the whole game, so good riddance. Not going to miss you. Even though we're supposedly cut off from the nest, we can still use its shop normally, which is a bit immersion breaking in my opinion. Elan also contacts us contemplating 9-ball's appearance. He thinks it's very abnormal that a top-ranking AC attacks ProcTech directly, accompanied by an unaffiliated MT force. He thinks that there's a connection between the 2 attacks directed to ProcTech labs. Nonetheless, our arena license is active again, so into the fray we go. Reaching rank 7 revokes our license yet again, and we need to perform emergency duties to ProcTech. It is an interesting mission where we are to save yellow-friendly MTs under attack by the same type MTs. Our FCS sees both sides targetable, so in this mission we need to make visual contact with the target to know whether it's a friend or a foe. It is a quick mission with a cool idea that has been used in many AC games. After the mission, Elan contacts us once more about Nineball. He confirms that most of the information regarding its pilot, Hustler 1, has been completely erased. There is no data available regarding him, and not a single soul has ever actually met the pilot. After reaching rank 4 in the arena, Elan finds out that every single corporation Nineball works with experiences rapid success or quick disappearance. He deduces that Nineball seeks to destroy ProgTech. Immediately, Elan's personal lab is under attack and we are to defend him. From the get-go, Elan informs us that Nineball is the attacker and he is waiting for us. We need to ascend towards the top level of the lab with these slow elevators while battling tough MTs every now and then. At the top level, we meet Nineball.
People who have too much power will destroy everything. You are one of those people.
A small detail is that this Nineball has a different voice than before. The boss battle is very much the same as before, but this time we actually destroy AC Nineball, so I think we finally had our vengeance. Unfortunately, destroying Nineball does not remove him from the arena. He is still sitting at the peak, alive and well. Elan deduces that the Raven's Nest is responsible for erasing all the data regarding Nineball, so the Nest is not a normal organization. At this point, we can probably figure out that Nineball is not a real pilot, although we already knew this because of AC1. Upon reaching rank 2, Elan confirms that Hustler 1 doesn't really exist, and all the information regarding him leads to letters H1 that are connected to our previous contact, Lana Nielsen. Coincidentally, Lana herself contacts us by congratulating us for reaching rank 2. As Nineball did previously, she also deems us too powerful. However, she also reminds us of her promise to face Nineball at some point. Well, that day has finally come. She sends us a final mission request to fulfill her promise. Weirdly enough, that mission briefing states that she will be waiting there, implying that she is Nineball, which implies that Lana Nielsen is also an AI, part of H1. Enter Factory is the final mission in Master of Arena. It's split into 2 parts, both the parts being a boss battle after another. The first Nineball we fight is met with Lana's voice, confirming that she is also part of the AI. It is a familiar Nineball we've faced before, and it goes down without problems. While progressing forward, we see multiple Nineballs combat ready, while H1 states its purpose in serving humanity's best interests, as it did in AC1.
Those who wield too much power. Those who only bring chaos. They are simply not part of the program.
2 Nineballs is a major threat. Luckily, there's plenty of space to maneuver in. A smart choice is to focus on them one at a time and keep on moving constantly. Grenade launchers are still the biggest threat, and they can snowball the situation really quickly. It is a tough battle, but we end up victorious with a bit over 1000 AP left.
I was created to protect mankind and this world. I intend to fulfill this task.
Progressing forwards leads to the second and final part of the mission, where we are to face Nineball for the last time.
Modifying program, final level. All system checks are complete. Combat mode is now engaged.
commencing hostilities!
This is 9-Ball Seraph, the final boss of the game. It's an absurdly fast, powerful and well-equipped special unit capable of dealing ridiculous amounts of damage in mere seconds. It's an iconic Armored Core boss battle, which is often regarded as one of the tougher ones in the series. Holy moly, that hurts. Yeah, this boss tests your AC in probably every way possible, so give it your all in order to beat it. Nine-Ball Seraph goes down, and soon after the Raven's Nest ceases to exist, thus completing the main story. We're not done yet with the game, as we still have the second disc remaining. So, what's that second disc for? It's a completely arena-related content for the pilots who hunger for even more AC battles. EX Arena consists of 8 different arena brackets, from which 4 are accessible by default, and 4 of them are locked until meeting a certain criteria. In the EX Arena, you might meet familiar opponents from previous games and even from the FMVs. Here's the poster boy, AC Phoenix. In the Japanese version, Phoenix is known as Anfang, which is roughly translated as the beginning in German. Anfang feels more fitting than Phoenix in my opinion, because it's the poster boy, goddammit. But it is what it is. You can even create a custom arena, which fuels the hunger for AC battles even further. It does take a while to get a good custom arena rolling, so you probably do need to put some time, thought and work to it. The 4 default arena brackets are thematic arenas, where all the opponents are built using specific leg types, and in order to participate, you need to use the very same leg type. It is a cool concept because it encourages you to explore building other types of ACs. For example, I personally very rarely do quad legs, so now I need to take a deeper look into what I need to consider when using quad legs. The EX Arena is unfortunately slightly disappointing. It does improve the arena from Project Phantasma, but some of the problems are still there, such as the level of opponents. In the default brackets, the AI is incredibly dumb, excluding the number 1 ACs in the bracket. Most of the ACs in the bracket don't even fight back. Completing the bracket unlocks a single part of a specific leg type used in that particular bracket. They are usually good additions. So what about the unlockable brackets? The champion bracket, that is on paper the most interesting one, is unlocked upon beating Master of Arena story mode. It consists of ACs used by real players in tournaments during Project Phantasma. So what kind of ACs do they use? Well, unsurprisingly, almost every single one of them are plus pilots lodging to battle overweight with AI level turned up to 11. This means most of them are very hard to beat, and a few of them are even notoriously hard to beat. Some of them actually feel like that you should also be a Plus user to even stand a fair chance. Then there's the FromSoft bracket consisting of ACs made by the developers themselves. It's pretty fun to take a look at what kind of AC Yasuyoshi Karasawa would use personally. Interestingly enough, he doesn't use the Karasawa rifle himself. Maybe he knew all along that the weapon was a cheat. He doesn't even use plus benefits. And here's the CEO of FromSoft himself, rocking a super cool emblem with 2 moonlight swords. Rest of the brackets are completion unlocks. Upon clearing every single mission in Disc 1, you unlock the guest bracket, consisting of ACs made by journalists from different Japanese magazine publishers, such as Famitsu and Hyper. The very final bracket is the Master bracket, consisting mostly of unfair and unfun opponents with familiar perks. You probably already know those perks by this point. The Master bracket is unlocked upon obtaining every single part except the very part awarded upon completing this bracket. This means unlocking everything from Disc 1 and beating all the other EX Arena brackets. The Master bracket is a real minefield of unfair opponents, which some of them have actually acclaimed real notoriety within the Armored Core community. I think it's fair to admit that during this playthrough I did not even unlock this bracket, but based on my previous experiences, I can say that beating the Master bracket is generally not a fun experience in my opinion. Beating the Master bracket completes the game, awarding you the final part, a completion reward, which is a stealth unit. It removes your presence from enemy radar systems, but the enemy is still able to target you. It isn't too strong when battling against AI, but it could be useful against a real player. I believe it's a good time to return to the topic of a cheating AI. So, what if we just played a good old common counter-argument that the AI isn't cheating, you're just bad, get good? To be honest, that is a fairly okay argument, because you, as a player, can also get those plus power-ups and you can improve your skill by just playing the game and simply get good. Then that would mean that you've evened the playing field, right? Well, there is another power-up you cannot obtain as player 1, and that is connected to the deep code of the game. To be precise, it's about hitboxes and frame data. Have you ever wondered, maybe during this video, why the AI evades player projectiles with ease by just boosting to one direction, even when fully locked in, but the AI projectiles always hit with utmost precision when locked in? Simply put, this is due to the player 2 compensation, where the second player, this time meaning the AI, will get extra frames to hit player 1. So this means that player 2 will have improved accuracy, improved projectile speed, and improved projectile distance against player 1, due to player 2 having less parts unlocked than player 1. I think this was intended only to apply to the versus mode to make it more balanced when the second player has less parts to work with, as player 1 could potentially have every part unlocked. However, this compensation also applies in single player, meaning the AI gets the goods every time. There's a link in the video description by user Lynxtetsu explaining this further, so if you're interested about a cheating AI, take a look at this very informative video. Master of Arena is a refined version of Project Phantasma. From Software knew exactly what potential was left unrealized previously, and they delivered it here. They also held their feet on the ground and took their time to refine the major bad things in Phantasma, which mostly revolved around the personal story. Master of Arena is a solid blend of AC1 and Project Phantasma, combining simulation, personal story, and an arena system. The story itself is now quite a lot more engaging, although it is a basic revenge story. The characters are also more fleshed out and therefore more interesting. The game was also novelized, which did expand the story further, strengthening the personal story aspect even further. It's a Japanese-only novel, so you won't probably find it easily available. Story-wise, the game is not a sequel to the original AC or even Project Phantasma, but it is connected to AC1. It is a separate story occurring at the same time as AC1, with Master of Arena concluding slightly before AC1. In the end, the Nest AI H1 or Hustler 1 is destroyed, leaving humankind to decide its own fate with questions contemplated during AC1. Even though Master of Arena and AC1 are connected, there's a major disconnection between these two games regarding how the Raven's Nest operates. Originally, the Nest only works as a liaison between clients and Ravens, not interfering with missions themselves. Ravens are supposed to be registered elite mercenaries, which the Nest connects clients to, and the Ravens themselves are free to accept whatever offer they want. Being a Raven represents freedom. However, in Master of Arena, the player is chained to a specific person, which is Lana Nielsen, who early on makes it clear that you are only to accept missions authorized by her, and disobeying orders will have consequences. This disconnection is probably done to establish a stronger story, connecting you to the characters a lot better than in the previous game, which had severe problems in doing so. Disc 1 is a couple of hours long, combining 19 short missions with an arena. Unlike Project Phantasma, there's quite a lot more to play after completing the main story. Still, it does not compare with the mission content of AC1, but there is quite an okay amount of mission-based gameplay, and there's really no filler missions this time. This time the level design is much more focused on open levels, which supports the fast, exhilarating Armored Core experience. Of course, there are still small-sized levels, but this time they are in clear minority. Hidden parts also make their return, but not in great numbers, as there are only a few ones hidden in missions. The majority is yet again unlocked as mission and arena completion rewards. I'm awarding some personal extra points for attempting to rebalance some of the parts. This led to toning down some of the super strong weapons, for example the Karasawa rifle getting a finally deserved weight increase. Balance-wise, Master of Arena is the way to go. As the name of the game implies, the arena system has been developed to an integral part of the game. However, as mentioned during Project Phantasma, its true potential is yet again unrealized. There's still only one AC in your garage, not supporting the game's arena focus, forcing you to rebuild that one AC all over again multiple times to tackle specific arena opponents or special brackets. This, as mentioned before, leads to more menu crawling, and it's still tedious. Regarding your opponents, the problems are exactly the same. The AI is too dumb to even fight back, or the AI is brutally unfair utilizing all plus enhancements combined with maxed AI difficulty, including the magical player 2 compensation. It's an arena of extremities, as nothing is grey. Everything is black or white. With the conclusion of Master of Arena, we have beaten the first generation of Armored Core. So, how was it? In short, it's a solid, enjoyable trilogy that is unfortunately rather difficult to get into. The entry-level complexity is often regarded as the key detrimental factor, as there are way too many different factors to take in. The series has added even more complex systems from generation to generation, which means more numbers and more rules to follow. With more and more new systems introduced, It can even be an exhausting idea to give a try to the series. This is the key reason why people who are interested in mecha games are reluctant to give a try to Armored Core games. They would rather play, for example, Daemon X Machina due to its lower entry barrier. It's rather common knowledge that players, especially modern players, value simplicity and ease of access over taking the time to learn complex systems just to enjoy video games, and there is really nothing wrong in that, as video games are supposed to be a hobby for a person to enjoy and have a good time. To some, video games can be even considered as a form of escapism. So it can be understandably exhausting to learn so many things just to enjoy a game in its basic form. The first generation built a basis for the series, which has been running for almost 30 years by now. To me, Armored Core has always been the most realistic mecha game in the market, and that has always been a major turn on for me. Other mecha game series are usually tied to anime or they have a cartoonish style, and that particular style doesn't make me personally interested. Surely AC has plenty of unrealistic stuff, but it still feels like a realistic world. It poses serious questions about dystopian topics such as AI controlling humanity, foreseeing the future by calculating all the possible outcomes of every situation, therefore executing the best logical actions, no matter how extreme, to serve humanity's best interests. With true From Software fashion, all the story beyond gameplay can be ignored, which isn't really a bad thing considering Project Phantasma's lackluster performance. However, I do think AC1 has very interesting conclusion, even outperforming Master of Arena. I do enjoy an ending which throws the ball to the player to think about things beyond the game. The obvious strength of the trilogy lies in the customization. There is just a crazy amount of customization to be done, and the vast majority of parts are stylish and unique. The overall balance is questionable, but it is a nitpicky thing which most likely will not matter during your first playthrough. According to Yasuyoshi Karasawa, they intended to make the game as balanced as possible, so there would not be some parts or combinations of parts that were clearly the best. He admitted that it's a very hard task, and it really was, as in the end, some parts did outclass others in many ways. Overall, there are plenty of different playstyles to lean into, and I'm very certain that everyone will find their own favorites, no matter whether it's a basic handgun, shotgun, sniper rifle, pulse rifle, or even the mighty Karasawa rifle. The gameplay feels solid, especially in the open levels. On small levels, sometimes it ain't fun at all. Some missions tend to be punishing for the first-timers by design, as they clearly favor some AC designs more. For example, tank treads will inevitably suffer in levels which demand speed over massive firepower and defense. It might be potentially annoying to have to play a level again just because you went for a wrong AC build. In addition, lacking automap functions can be very punishing. I really would like to enjoy the first generation Arena a lot more, but it's difficult. Fortunately, they already improved the Arena vastly in the next game, Armored Core 2, that some players regard as one of the best arenas in the series. There's plenty of variation in opponents, but the first generation does not realize the arena's true potential yet, which is unfortunate, especially when Master of Arena is heavily leaning towards it. It's very much the de facto arena experience when talking about the first generation, but there's still so much to improve. Most likely it is what it is due to hardware limitations. The question is, would I recommend the first generation for newcomers? Yes, I would. It is a solid experience with some apparent flaws. The systems and rules are as bare bones as they can be, so it would be a good idea to start here. It's hard for me to say whether AC1 or Master of Arena is the most enjoyable experience out of the three, but I think that AC1 has the best immersion and pacing, so if there was a single entry to recommend, do try AC1. The only thing it's lacking is an arena. You can skip Project Phantasma if you're feeling like it, as you can import an AC1 save file straight to Master of Arena. But would you miss Phantasma exclusive parts? That would be no, because Master of Arena contains every single part in the first generation, including Phantasma parts. Upon researching things regarding this video, I learned a very important thing. From Software really loves Armored Core, despite not reaching the crazy levels of hype as the Souls games did. Even though there have been many years of silence between some entries, they still make these games with love and passion, and the 6th generation is a proof of that. To be honest, I thought the lackluster 5th generation and the major success of the Souls games pulled the plug for Armored Core, but they still made a new one, and boy, it was a really good one. Fires of Rubicon was filled with references to previous generations, showing that they did not forget where everything began while creating a new generation in the series. Hidetaka Miyazaki himself has expressed interest towards Armored Core so many times that it's very safe to be an Armored Core fan, even though it sometimes seems that From Software only does Souls games. It could be because he started in Last Raven and because he directed the 4th generation games, from which Armored Core 4 Answer is one of the clear fan favorites. No matter how it really is, it's plain obvious that From Software still loves Armored Core. The 1st generation has left its mark. Nineball has become rather an iconic figure in the mecha game media, as he can be found or is referenced in many other series apart from Armored Core. Despite being destroyed during the conclusion of AC1 and Master of Arena, Nineball's legacy lives on in the generations to come, as cheeky references for the keen eye, or maybe as a direct nod towards it. The 1st generation is a very celebrated trio of games. A great example would be Armored Core Nexus. Nexus had 2 discs of gameplay, and the 2nd disc, also known as Revolution Disc, had many missions from the original trilogy remade with Nexus engine and mechanics. It also had some what-if scenarios where you're taking an opposing side, such as siding with the workers in Doan Bridge in AC1. Some of the missions have also added additional scenarios, so it's a true celebration of the original trilogy. The legacy left by the 1st generation cannot be ignored, as its themes are revisited in many other generations. In particular, the 3rd generation, which is also very recommended to new players, revisit the same themes regarding AI and world building. It's super hard for me not to ramble about the series. It's one of my favorites that is very easy to come back to, no matter the generation. Hey, do you remember that Soul series character called Patches? Great, because he is originally from Armored Core, to be precise, Armored Core 4 Answer. And yeah, I mean this kind of rambling. Before concluding the video here, I'd like to offer you, the viewer, an invitation to talk about Armored Core in the comments section. Cheers and thank you so much for watching.